Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Lim Nacron, and I'm joined here by special guest, former GBI investigator, Agent Trebor Randall. Thank you so much for being with us, Agent Randall. So the reason we're on here right now is we're covering a very somber but important anniversary. Today marks 2 years since the murder of Katie Janness in Piedmont Park. Certainly a crime that shocked the Atlanta community and really beyond. Stunning details. She was stabbed more than 50 times. Apparently, the word fat had been carved onto her skin. And it's still not known who killed her and her dog in the overnight hours at Piedmont Park. Again, it was 2 years ago today. But again, Agent Randall, this is something that, of course, you a story you follow very closely. You have a lot of expertise on this subject. What do we expect this far out from this crime, in terms of the investigation?
Well, I think in terms of the investigation, we should know that it's still active, it's still ongoing. I understand that many times the public or the family members of those that have been killed in these instances feel like they're being left out or being left in the dark because they're not seeing the regular briefings, maybe like there was in the beginning. But having experience with many of these cases, it's still very active a lot of times behind the scenes. Certainly, leads are still being followed up on, but there obviously has been the absence of any significant lead that would have led to a significant finding of a suspect in this case.
Yeah, and so Atlanta police actually held a press conference earlier today, and the big takeaway for a lot of people was that there were no major updates, and so that a lot of people, it seemed felt a little bit discouraged by that there were no major updates. But as you said, that doesn't mean that the investigation is not continuing, right? And what can the public do at this point to help?
That's correct. The investigation is continuing. I can assure you that a lot of very well experienced investigators with the Atlanta Police Department that work on these homicides, very capable, and having partnered with them in the past, I know that they're constantly behind the scenes working, gathering intelligence information, following up, looking for witnesses or anyone that someone else may have told them, hey, I heard this person had information. It's also not uncommon, just a few things for people to consider. Sometimes these cases will appear to go cold. If we do have evidence that may be forensic, whether it be DNA or some other type of forensic evidence, we may not have a match to it, for example. We have found that in the past, a suspect we were looking for was incarcerated for some other reason, had been arrested after committing a crime, and then they're released sometime later, and then something leads us to them. There are so many different possibilities. I still think that, we're looking in all the right areas as far as someone within the area or possibly someone who knew her. The profilers have talked about the fact that, in our training, when we see this level of violence, this level of injury, especially about the face, the head, the neck area, sometimes that's an indicator that there was rage there. The perpetrator could have been known to the victim. We do not know if it could have been the result of, her status, in the LGBTQ community. Could she have been a target because of that? But nevertheless, I can assure you that although the leads haven't been significant enough for law enforcement to bring that to the public, they are still going to be getting, tips and calls and following up on those leads. But if they can't verify the leads, then they're not going to put that information out to the public prematurely.
Yeah, fair enough. Anything else that you think we need to bear in mind, now that it's been 2 years since the murder took place, and it's something that a lot of people are calling now a cold case, but it sounds that police are actually kind of pushing back on that notion that it's a cold case, that it's I guess they don't want it to be considered cold because it's still active. Anything else to keep in mind?
I think that that's a very good assessment of Atlanta Police Department. Our partners, many law enforcement agencies, federal, state, and local, who have taken a look at or been a part of this investigation, I think that's fair. We don't want you to consider this to be a cold case because it is actively being investigated behind the scenes, although not in the public eyesight. Also, what you all are doing today. You know, we can't thank you enough for the media and our partners to keep this case going, keep it alive. I know her family appreciates it, law enforcement appreciates it, and as long as we keep the information out there and we're seeking information, someone will eventually come forward. It happens more often than not. You know, there may be someone with information who could be listening right now to say, well, there was, you know, something that's been bothering me that I didn't tell anybody. I heard it. It could be a rumor. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. It doesn't matter how small of a nugget that information is. Pick up the phone and give a call to the Atlanta Police Department and let them know that you could have information and let them do the job of verifying that.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much to Agent Trebor Randall, a former GBI investigator, sharing her expertise in analysis. And of course, if you have tips, you are encouraged to reach out to law enforcement. Also encourage you to check out atlantanewsfirst.com and download our mobile news app for all the latest updates on this case as we keep following the latest. Thank you.